It'll work if I can find the chat box. Give up. Ah, there we go. Hang on a sec. There we go. Show chat. Okay, if you can hear me, can you just jump something in the chat box? Please. Okay, for some reason I can't see the chat box. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. So I spent the weekend messing around on this thing called Periscope because I never heard of it before, and I watched a couple of people presenting on there. There's a guy called Lewis Howes who is based over in the States, and I follow some of the stuff that he does. Did this great presentation on the 5 things that you need to know if you're in business and you want to promote yourself. And I thought, wow, this is a really cool thing. Messed around with this Meerkat app for a little while, but to have something where you can get online instantaneously around the world and kind of teleport to anywhere in the world, I thought was pretty cool. So much to my wife's annoyance, I spent some of the weekend messing around with this thing to understand what Periscope is all about. As you can see from my first attempt, I hadn't quite got the settings right, but I have now, hopefully. So I can see if anyone wants to ask me some questions. I'm going to be on online for about half an hour maximum this morning, and you may be thinking, well, what a crazy time to come online and do a chat about careers and about business. But in actual fact, it's possibly the best time to do a chat about careers and business for a couple of reasons. First thing is, there is always a good time to talk about your career and to talk about potentially starting a business, because a lot of people leave it far too late. So they'll think about, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. Hi from Utah, there we go. I've got the chat on, it works, fantastic. So a lot of people think about doing stuff, but they put it off until tomorrow. And me, I'm all about, and there's some of you on the line who I know. Hi from California. There's a number of people on the line who I know, and they will know that I'm the guy that gets things done. So I decide in the morning and then do in the afternoon. So there's always a good time to think about your career and to think about starting a business. And the second reason to be online this morning is because it's Monday morning in the UK. It's late in America and it's a different time all over the world, I know that. But in the UK, it's Monday morning around about 7:30. And what most people do is they get up and they wake up and they think, oh my goodness, I've got to go back to the job that I hate. I've got to go back to work, and I really don't want to. And that's the perfect time and the perfect motivation to make a change. So this morning I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the 5 things that successful job seekers know that others don't. That's the 5 things that successful job seekers know that others don't. And what do I mean by a job seeker? What I mean by a job seeker is somebody who's on the job market or is about to come onto the job market and they're looking for a change. And it really doesn't matter what the change is what the catalyst for change is. The fact is they're looking for a change. So they may be made redundant. They may have, you may have, if you're watching this, you may just be bored at work, you may not like your boss, you may want a new challenge, you know that you've got one life and what you decide to do with it is all important because, you know, when it gets to the end, there's no point having any regrets. You might as well try and fail, try again, try. Whatever the reason for being on the job market, there are things that you need to know. And probably before I talk about some of the things that you need to know and the things that successful job seekers know, I probably should give a bit of background, particularly as this is my first Periscope. So my name's Simon Gray, and I run a number of different businesses, including a company called Career Codex, which you'll see my username, my hashtag for this talk. So if you'd like to follow on for future talks, please just click on that now and add, because I'm probably going to do one of these every day or every couple of days just to keep the momentum going and talk about something different and hopefully something inspirational to motivate people to take action. So I trained as a chartered accountant. I think Paul's on this morning, who I was with last week, who is also a chartered accountant and works across the way. So if you're there, Paul, nice to see you. I saw you flash up earlier. Before I messed up the initial technology. I trained as a chartered accountant, and then I went into recruitment, and I went into this wacky world of recruitment, didn't really know what I was getting into, and spent the next 10 years of my life working in a recruitment business, and then 5 years in, I started my own recruitment company. So I sat between job seekers and employers for about 10 years pretty much, and got to really understand what goes on in a job seeker's head, somebody looking for a job, and also what goes on in the mind of an employer or the person looking to bring talent into their business. And I started to have the same conversations with candidates all of the time and with employers. And I decided, and there's no plug here, but I decided to write a book called Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker. And I wrote this back in 2013. And the reason I wrote it is because I was saying the same stuff over and over again. And the people coming into my office to find a job really didn't know how the job market worked. Because if you are on the job market, it's not just about responding to adverts, and it's not just about registering with recruitment agencies and waiting for them to help you. It's about taking proactive action yourself. So in this book, put loads of different stuff, talked about the psychology a little bit, talked about planning, setting a roadmap, CVs, interview technique, all of the stuff that you would expect me to talk about. But it didn't really get to the crux of what the job market is all about, because a big part of the job market is all about psychology. And it's all about understanding how the job market really works. So I've just published another book. And this book builds on the first book, Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker. And this book is called, there we go, Super Secrets of Successful Executive Job Search. And this is really pitched at senior executives who come onto the job market, really don't know where they're going, what they're doing, with a view that this book will help them and will guide them through that recruitment process from start to finish. Anyway, that's me. So I should say I actually left my recruitment company about 2 years ago and set up this business, Career Codex, with a view that I would go out there into the world, and I do mean the world. I see this as a global message. Go out there into the world and communicate this new way of thinking about getting into the job market, deciding what it is you want to do in the job market, then going out there and finding it and securing it. So I said I was going to be online for about half an hour this morning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about the 5 things that successful job seekers know that others don't. So number 1, the first thing is that successful job seekers understand something called the madness of crowds. And does anyone know what I'm talking about when I talk about the madness of crowds? Just type in the box if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, well, I'll carry on. I'm not even sure my chat box working, so don't worry. What the madness of crowds means is that what we all know. Okay, the chat box is working, fantastic. What the madness of crowds means is, and there's a famous book which is worth a read, about how we all follow what other people are doing. And we just look out into the world, we see what other people are doing and think, do you know what, that must be the thing that we should do. So we all follow along with this mentality. And there was, I think in the book The Madness of Crowds, there's a famous case that in Amsterdam, in Holland, this is a while back, they came up with this concept that tulips had high value, and everyone got into this concept that tulips were the thing to buy. That was the high value stuff, and it was just a scam. It's just one of these Ponzi type schemes. But people followed along because the person next to them did it. So madness of crowds, everyone does the same thing. And it's the same in the job market. Because you think about you coming onto the job market or your friend coming onto the job market, what do we naturally do? Well, the first thing that we do is we look out there into the world and think, what's everyone else doing? And what most people are doing is they are looking at job boards, seeing what's advertised. And secondly, is Rule Britannia my favourite song? No, but maybe it should be. And secondly, that's distracted me. And secondly, what they do is they're registered with recruitment agencies. And when they're registered with recruitment agencies, they send their CV and they wait for things to happen. The thing is, if everybody is doing that, and when people talk about success in the job market, they talk about standing out, how can that ever be standing out? How can that ever be a route to success? It's not a blueprint for success, is it? If 1,000 people are doing the same thing, and you're the 1,000th and first, if I say that correctly, then what's the chance of you being the one that's successful? What's the chance of you standing out? In actual fact, it's far better to say, do you know what? Those guys are doing that, so I'm going to go over here and do this. And in the job market, and I talk about it in my books, I talk about the environment and how recruitment gets done. Because before ever going to a job board or before ever going to a recruitment agency, an employer usually has 2 separate conversations ahead of that. They talk to their peer group, they talk to their associates, and they ask, who do you know, who do you know, who do you know? So the smart job seeker knows that the best place to find a job is in actual fact not where everybody else is looking. They've got to do that as well, but I'll answer that question in a second. Okay. It's not do what everyone else is doing, but actually position themselves differently. Somebody just asked me, it's quite interesting this, because I do something else in Nottingham, which is about promoting Nottingham to the outside world. I run this business networking organisation, and somebody just asked me about Robinhood, and we have this debate all the time in Nottingham about what should our brand be, and in actual fact, I don't know where you messaged me from. If you're abroad, that's telling me that Robinhood is actually a great asset for Nottingham, which I know it is, and we need to promote it a bit more. So that's the first thing. To be successful in the job market, don't follow the crowd. So what's number two? Any ideas what number two is? Type in the box if you would. Type. Anybody? Okay. So the second thing is, and remember this is just my opinion, so there are lots and lots of different things, but it's just my opinion. So the second thing is, people think that their success in the job market is all about what's happening out there in the big wide world. But successful job seekers know that whatever it says on the news, whatever it says out there in the big wide world, then, you know, it doesn't really matter. Just because it says on the news that there's no jobs, what's a load of rubbish? If you believe that, you'll think that, and as a result, you'll take no action. So you'll get the result that you would get anyway. So successful job seekers know that they only need one job. They only need one job. And I can tell you, that job exists. It might not exist in your line of sight. It might not be advertised. It might not be with recruiters at the moment. But it does exist. And all you need is one job. You're not going to do 2, 3 jobs, unless you're as crazy as me, and I have about 3 or 4 jobs, as those watching who know me know. So taking personal responsibility for your job search is what successful job seekers know. And that means clearly defining where you're going, your destination. It's about putting a plan in place, an action plan to find and then secure that job. And then it's about working this plan. It's about being diligently disciplined on a daily basis. And I always use this analogy. You know, when you're at school and you've got, it's quite some time ago for me now, but when I was at school, you've got your exams coming up and you do this big plan, this homework plan or revision plan. And what I used to do is I used to put this plan together, and then I used to kind of miss something and then think, oh, that was a rubbish plan. I'll write a new plan. So I'd spend another day doing another plan. And that's what you can't do in the job market. So you put a plan together and you follow it diligently each and every day. Okay, so number 3. Any idea what number 3 might be? And I'm going to have a sip of my coffee while you guys think about that. Hi, Sarah, or Sarah, is it? Anyone else know what number, or anyone can think what number 3 might be? Use your connections, absolutely. So what I was just saying there, Charlie, the first point is it's not just about reacting to what's out there, it's about accessing what I call the hidden market. And probably I'll do another Periscope on what I actually mean by the hidden market and how to access it. But it is about using your connections. But it's not the number 3 on my list this morning. So the number 3 on my list this morning is related to number 2, which is process, not prize. So follow the process and forget the prize, forget individual outcomes. Is anyone watching this on interview at the moment or in the job market at the moment? Anybody? Just type yes in the box or no in the box. Anybody? Yeah, okay, Charlie. So have you, okay, Sarah, yeah, wow, quite a few of you. So you guys who were on interview, have you, yes or no, have you been on interview and got offered every single job that you've got? Anybody? Those Charlie, Sarah, I think it was, and there was somebody else. No. Most people are saying no. Okay, and that's absolutely right. Yes, somebody's saying yes. Well, good for you. That's fantastic. You don't need my help. You can sign off now. No, please stay, actually. So you're absolutely right. I worked in recruitment for 10 years. I met some really, really talented people, some really, really good candidates. But I can tell you, there is not one candidate that I've met that has ever been offered every single job that they've been for. But what happens is when you get rejected at interview, or even before that, when you send your CV across, how do you feel? You don't feel very good, do you? You feel rejected. When you feel rejected, what happens is you stop taking action. And actually, it's the action that gets you the result. So I encourage my clients, and in my training and education, I encourage people to focus on the process and not the prize. And it's very similar when you go to the gyms. Anyone out there go to the gym, exercise freak like me? Anyone do that? Okay, well, what happens in January is the gyms get packed because the gym companies encourage people to join after Christmas to burn off the turkey and all of that good stuff. And people go, and they go a couple of times, and you see the people jump on the scales and they haven't lost weight and they get despondent. You see the guys usually in the mirror looking at their muscles, and their muscles haven't got bigger, and they quit after 2 or 3 times because they're so focused on the outcome. But in actual fact, if they're just focused on the plan, and it's the smart people in the gym who have the plan that says you do this today, and just getting through that daily action plan or that gym plan, at the end of 6 months, at the end of 12 months, they'd have the body and the fitness that they wanted. So in the job market, it's exactly the same. Don't focus on individual outcomes, whether you got accepted here, rejected there. Just focus on the process of getting a job. And that's your plan. Okay, so fourth thing that successful job seekers know, and this one may be a bit of a brain twister, because actually the best time... Oh, Sarah, good. I'm glad that's helped you. Absolutely, trust me. Do not think you're going to get a job offered every single job you go for, okay? Just before I go on to point 4, Sarah raised a good point there, and thank me for that comment. So just wanted to acknowledge that, so thank you for saying that. But if you think about people, yeah, so an employer and a job seeker, they're both people. And what are people? They're emotional, aren't they? So, an interview is not just about technical skills, it's about whether people connect, it's about gut feel. I may do a future Periscope on gut feel, because that's massively important, and that's what determines whether you get offered the job or not. So there's so many things going on that the chances of you getting it right every single time are about that big. So you just got to keep running the process. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Do not give up. Do not give up. Okay, so number 4. Successful job seekers know that the best time to apply for a job is before the job is advertised. Okay, I'll say that again. Successful job seekers know that the best time to apply for a job is before the job is advertised. So, what do I mean by that? Well, it goes back to the initial point I was talking about, the hidden market. So if you think about when a job's advertised, well, everybody knows about it. So everyone's applying for it, and then suddenly you're hunting with the masses there. But in actual fact, there are businesses all over the place, and running a business organisation here in Robin Hood country in Nottingham, I know this because people ask me all the time, do you know somebody who could do this? Do you know somebody who could do that? And they ask me this before they go out to the market, generally, through job boards or through recruiters. So there are jobs all over the place. And in actual fact, if somebody popped up in front of those employers at that particular point in time with the right skills and the right attitude, then they'd only be in competition with themselves. So what it means is, rather than just reacting to what you see advertised, it's proactively thinking, what kind of business do I want to work for? Who do I want to work for in that business? What's their job title? What are they like? And where are they based? And then it's about thinking, well, in that locality, which businesses are out there, and which businesses can I target? So it's about being very, very proactive. Okay, and the last thing, I'm conscious of time, I've got about 5-10 minutes, and I'll do some Q&A at the end if people have got some questions. So the last thing, number 5, that success... got to sleep, appreciate the wisdom, keep promoting Little John. Okay, thank you, Charlie. I guess you're in the States, are you? Good night in the States. So the last thing that people do is in fact, I lost my train of thought now. Trying to do 2 things at once is never a good thing, but that's the subject of another Periscope, because if you're going to be successful in business, you've got to focus on what you're doing at that particular point in time. So successful job seekers know that finding and securing a job is a profession in itself. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're going to become an accountant, if you're going to become a doctor, if you're going to become an architect, whatever it is, you have to train to do it. You have to learn the skills and techniques to be able to do that job and do it well. So it's exactly the same in the job market. But what happens is people think, well, I've been on an interview before, or employers think, well, I've interviewed before, so when I come onto the job market, I kind of know how it all works. It's not the case. The job market is a profession in itself. There's a whole skill set that you need to be successful in the job market. What I'm going to do on my Periscope talks is give you all that free information as to how to do it. But the related point is that it is actually a profession in itself. So not only do you need the skills, but you need to dedicate the right amount of time to it. So just as you go to work, whatever hours you work, you dedicate time specifically on that particular thing at work. You've got to dedicate time in the job market to find and then secure the job that you want. You can't just leave it to chance. But most people, in my experience, leave their success to chance. They're reactive, they're not proactive. So that's the fifth thing. So just to cover off, number one, don't follow the crowd. Successful job seekers don't follow the crowd. They do things differently and position themselves differently. Successful job seekers know that their success, number two this is, successful job seekers know that their success in the job market is down to them and not anybody else. Successful job seekers, point three, know that it's about process, not outcome. It's about process, not prize. Okay. Number four, they know that the best time to apply for a job is when the job's not advertised. Okay, it's before the job's out there in the mass market. And number five, successful job seekers know that finding success in the job market is a profession in itself. So on my website, if you go to my website, careercodex.com, you'll see that there's a sign-up box for a newsletter. And if you go there and fill in your details, you'll pop up on my machine in on my marketing list. And you'll also get a free copy of a guide, which is the 5 things successful job seekers know that others don't. That goes into a bit more detail about some of the stuff I've spoken about this morning. For this book, I'm actually doing an online book launch next week. Not quite decided on the day, but probably Wednesday or Thursday, early evening. So again, if you go to the website and sign up there, you'll be alerted to that. And on that particular session, this is going to be a proper webinar. It's not a Periscope thing. On that webinar, I'm going to talk about give a lot of information about how to really position yourself correctly in the job market to get the result that you want. The other thing I'd ask you to do this morning, 2 other things. I know I'm asking for a lot. It's only Monday morning here in the UK. The other thing I'd ask you to do is, if you like what we've heard this morning, please visit the facebook.com Career Codex page and just give me a like or give me a comment about this morning's Periscope. And also, if you want to follow my future posts, and I'm going to do probably one of these a day, probably not the weekends, one of these a day. So if you want to follow along and get alerted on your phone, then just do whatever it is you need to do on your screen. I've still yet to work it out, and press plus and add me. Okay, we've got some Q&A coming in. Got about 5 minutes for Q&A. Okay, so sorry, I missed your name. Somebody's asked, should I use a recruitment company or a job board? Okay, well, you should do both, okay? But remember that this is a reactive approach. So that's your reactive stuff, but then you need to do your proactive stuff. So if you think about job boards, when you look at job boards, you can only see what's advertised. Yeah, you can't see all the other stuff that exists in what I call the hidden market that isn't actually on the market yet or isn't in the public domain. And similarly with recruiters, you think about recruiters, and I used to be one for 10 years. What recruiters are really interested in, yes, they want to help you. Yes, of course, they want to place you in a job. But what they're incentivized to do, and what they're targeted to do, is to make money. And that means that they need to place a candidate in a job. That's how they get paid. So their prime motivation is to place you in a job. But is it the right job for you, or is it just a job? So yes, you should look at job boards, you should talk to recruiters, but that's not all you should do. Okay, anybody else got any questions before we finish up and we go to work? I'm in my office already. I got up at 5:30 this morning. Feels like about 11 o'clock for me. It'll be lunchtime soon. Does anyone else have any other questions? Ask me anything about the job market. You can ask me anything about business or my background or whatever else, and I'll do my best to answer. Just got a couple of minutes. Anybody else? Okay, guys. All right. Well, after the technical hiccup to begin with, I've really enjoyed talking to you this morning. Hope that was useful. And as I say, I'm going to be back pretty much every day doing one of these sessions in different locations. Deborah, hi Deborah. What time tomorrow? Not sure. I'm with a client all day tomorrow. So It might be earlier. I might actually broadcast live from my car, not while I'm driving, when I stop. So it's probably going to be around about 7 o'clock, I think. Yeah, not quite sure what I'll talk about tomorrow. If anyone's got any questions, they want to ask me to talk about something specific to their job search, get on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Career Codex, send me a message, drop me a line through my website, and I'll hopefully see you all soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.